between it and geometry. It can't be both.
It is reality. We can understand reality using this special type of geometry. And this special type of geometry that we call general relativity gives us the best explanation and understanding of the real physical, tangible reality around us.
Okay,
Okay,
so let me give an actual
but
summary.
you're telling me something that it's an incoherent statement. If it is real, if this effect is real because of space and time being curved by mass, then it would affect everything, including the macroscopic level, the microscopic level. Go ahead, Austin.
Okay, so here's a couple of things I'm going to read. They're not very long. And it's going to summarize everything for everyone. Okay, so quantum mechanics is incompatible with general relativity because in quantum field theory, forces act locally through the exchange of well-defined quanta. Secondly,
I
relativity
agree.
gives relativity gives nonsensical answers when you try to scale it down to the quantum size. Everything are eventually descending to infinite values in its description of gravity. Likewise, quantum mechanics runs into serious trouble when you blow it up to the cosmic dimensions.
It's all true.
I
That's
agree.
right.
Yeah, it goes both ways. When you try and shrink down relativity, it stops working. When you try and expand or blow up quantum mechanics, it stops working. Both of them are not complete theories. Even quantum mechanics, there's something wrong about it.
Yeah, so there is a different option, right? So um, the reason that quantum doesn't work when you blow it up to the cosmic scale is because your presuppositions of the cosmic scale are wrong, right? And so then when you take that presupposed cosmic scale with the presupposed theory of relativity, you bring it down here to the real world where we actually test things, it doesn't work, and the evidence directly contradicts it. So you guys are gonna act like you have no idea that the other option is that it's your assumptions are just wrong.
But what is the other option? Would say? I mean, any real physicist, scientist, cosmologist worth a pinch of salt will tell you that we know we don't have all the answers. We know, a lot of our ideas and theories are not complete. There are a lot of things out there that we just can't explain. But
But what
hopefully, if we keep, I'm not done, Gregory. Hopefully, if we keep trying at it, if we keep making honest attempts at it, we might get close to what's going on. We might never get there, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. But if you feel like because we don't have all the answers and we know we don't have all the answers, we should stop trying, then what else should we do? Like, is there something else you propose?
No, that's not the
Uh,
point. The point is, whatever the alternative is,
I'm
what
asking
you are
questions,
saying
Gregory.
now is wrong. But
uh,
instead of conceding that it's wrong, that it's false, you want to say it's not complete, so as to maintain that it's even viable or plausible. Instead
correct.
of just
Do you
conceding
have an
that it's
alternate?
falsified.
That's
Whether I do
irrelevant.
or don't have an alternate, whether we do or don't have an alternate, that does not negate the fact that it's false. You can't just use this rhetoric where you maintain, oh, it's not complete, so as to refuse to concede that it's been debunked.
And there are numerous alternates, by the way,
Such
Okay.
as?
within your own paradigm. I already read them off. Biometric gravity, entropic gravity. There's all kinds, like a neo-Newtonian dynamic theory. There's multiple things. There's two different versions, primary versions of biometric gravity. One in which, with immense energies, the speed of light is variable and not constant. And in fact, the speed of light, things can go much faster than that. There are numerous theories from
So
people
why are
within
those
these
not
fields
generally accepted? Is there a reason?
because for over a century, everyone just ran with relativity to explain everything. And we're just now actually looking at evidence that just disproves relativity. So it's just everyone's going to hold on to what they've rocked with so far until we can agree on something else.
When we have these discussions, we need to stop pretending like the academics in academia are just so pious and objective and have no biases, that they don't have any controlling presuppositions which they protect at all costs. Like they aren't religious. Like they don't abandon logical consistency in preference for the presuppositions and customs and doctrines and whatever else they value. You need to stop playing that childish, naive game.
Theories of large-scale variations in the matter density of the universe, scale invariance of empty space, decaying dark matter. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Like just like
So
you people in this room, the people in academia don't want whatever doctrines they don't want to be false. Whatever they don't want to be false, they don't want to be false, and they will resist any and all critique.
Aren't all these alternate theories evidence that they are exploring alternate theories? I don't understand what the problem here with this is.
maybe you should listen carefully. So the Globers are claiming that
No, wait,
relativity
what's it? Don't backslap me, okay? Just answer my question.
Well, listen carefully then. So
No, just answer the question.
I'm trying to.
Will you let
Yeah,
him?
well, don't
You
backslap me.
have to let him, Steel City.
Okay, so the Globers have been claiming that relativity hasn't been falsified, and they keep on just saying the word incomplete. Okay, yeah, the reason that there are so many alternatives is because it has to be replaced because it has been falsified. That's the point.
If something is wrong in certain extremes, it doesn't mean that you throw it out completely. But you are correct. You keep exploring alternate theories, and that's exactly what science is doing.
It's not that it's wrong in certain extremes. It's wrong on every scale.
Yeah, but I mean that's why no one will ever agree with you. When you guys make like absolute statements like that, that it's wrong in its whole entirety, it's wrong on every scale. No, because they are things that it's right about. A lot of things that it's
I'm
right
talking about
about.
the
That's why
scales.
all I'll ever give you, all I'll ever concede to is that it's not a complete theory, but it's not
I'm talking
wrong.
about the scales, man. The scales. I'm going to say that you can't use relativity and it works with some things. Duh. That's why it was proposed. Bacon, you are hot. Mike and my man, your dogs are
Dogs.
hungry. So,
They are
like,
mine, but sorry.
Yeah,
you
feed your
guys,
dog.
you, it's like very simple, right? So it doesn't work on the quantum, the local, nor the cosmic scale. So when I mean it's wrong on all scales, I mean it doesn't adequately explain what is observed on all scales. So it isn't. He said if it just doesn't work in a few extreme situations, no. It's from top to bottom. Like just that you have a few things in there that aren't wrong doesn't mean anything.
That's not the nature of the
Quantized gravity.
situation. Right?
Quantized gravity, entropic gravity, neo-Newtonian dynamics. I mean, it's on and on. My point is that you guys pretend you know that GR is right, and ironically, it is well known for many years now that it cannot be right. So just say it.
So
Just be
it's
real.
not right at all? Or are you saying it's 40% right, 60%? Or it's like
Caloric,
a
he
big
can't make it
fat.
any more simple. He said this multiple times. It's wrong on all scales.
So it's like zero. Wow.
Yeah, because it makes basic claims, right? You do know that relativity isn't like a list of why do apples fall? Well, why does the banana fall? What about steel? It doesn't try to answer every question in the world. It makes general assessment claims, right? It's general relativity. It is effectively a claim to explain
But
all of
you
it.
can solve for Einstein's equation to figure out the geodesic along which an apple would fall as it
You could
falls from
create
a tree.
100 different equations to do that.
Yeah, then that shows it's right. I don't understand.
I derived it. I could post it for you.
You could do it
I
with
did
a
ask.
million different claims of causes, though. So that's a non sequitur.
Let me ask Clark a question. Clark, you said something can be incomplete but not wrong. At what point is it incomplete and then becomes completely wrong? Like, is there a
It
percentage?
would
Like, it could be 50% right but 50% wrong, or 30% right and 70% wrong? At what point does it become wrong?
I mean, that's the thing with science. We say things are falsified. We just say that. Trying to think of an example, man. It's just basically it's the best idea we have. That's the best way to see it. We know it's not 100% correct, but it answers a lot of things, and it answers a lot of things pretty well.
But
So
Caloric, this is just obviously a resistance, a refusal to concede, to speak the sentence, it is wrong. That's all this is. So that's
but
why
what is it
Larry
wrong about
asked
Gregory?
you the
If you
question.
guys want to say it's wrong, fine. What is it
No,
wrong about Gregory?
no, 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 no. Listen, listen. This is rhetoric to avoid saying the sentence, it is wrong. That's why Paul asked
But
you the
you
question.
but you
Let,
gotta convince me
let me
why it's
finish the
wrong. I'm not
sentence.
just
Let
gonna
me
say it's
finish the
wrong.
sentence. Let me finish the sentence. This is why Paul is asking you at what point you say it's not wrong, it's just incomplete. So, at what point in the answer to the question, to the problem, does it become wrong, false? When you say this is false, at what point do you say that?
All right, I would say it becomes wrong when um, all predictions it makes are falsified. Now, if you feel it is wrong, Gregory, can you give me a specific situation in which general relativity is wrong? I've answered your
It,
question. Please answer me.
it doesn't make sense in the first place.
No, come
Like
on, come
on
on.
the
I answered
basis
your
of the
question.
theory,
Please answer my question, Gregory.
But you don't have to.
the
I
curvature of space and
Can
time.
you, hold
Okay, that's a
on a second.
But
reification
answer my question,
fallacy that
Gregory. You
no
can't
one's
just say it
listening.
doesn't make
No one's listening. General relativity, the curvature of space and time because of mass. So I'm existing in my very existence, in the substance of my being is curving space and time.
Yes,
yeah,
To
there
cause
is an
things to fall.
interplay. There's a very deep fundamental underlying connection between you and the fabric of reality around us, Gregory. That is what it's telling us. Now,
Yeah, that's a
please answer my
reification
question.
fallacy.
And
This is
please
the
answer
answer,
my
caloric.
question.
This is the
You
answer.
can't. No, no, no. This
Stop,
is
stop
not
with this
fair, Gregory.
nonsense. Grown
This is
men.
not
I'm
fair.
answering your
I
question. You keep
can't be
demanding
answering
that
your
I answer. I'm in the
question.
middle of answering
You
it.
don't want
Stop
to answer a
talking and
simple
listen.
question. That's not fair, Gregory. Come on.
Stop talking and listen.
Then
Grown
answer the
ass
question.
man. It's ridiculous. Grown ass man coming onto a forum talking like this. I told you the answer. It's absurd on its face. The reification of space and time. That's
your
nonsense.
answer,
But you people
your
just
answer.
refuse to concede to that.
No,
That's
no,
ontological
Gregory,
nonsense.
you're claiming
We're from
something. You're making a positive claim, and you're not backing it up. You're just
I
Basically,
already
saying it
said it.
doesn't work.
The theory of of general relativity. This is a theory. Okay.
Yeah,
Stop
you're
presuming that this
saying
is actually real. Okay.
I
This is
already
an a
explained why
priori
it's
theory
wrong.
against. Be quiet and
We're
listen. Be
like, why do
quiet
you
and
guys?
listen. Be quiet and listen.
That's Whitson.
Wow.
Come on.
that's Witsit, right?
No,
But
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
sorry. I'm just trying. I'm not understanding why it is that we go over what's wrong with it, and then you guys looped back to saying, "Well, just tell me what's wrong with it then."
I mean, really. So here's the answer that I'm trying to give. Excuse me, Austin.
Mhm.
That was my apologies. General relativity, mass, objects existing, curving space and time. That's a reification of space and time. It's ontologically absurd.
So that's why it's wrong.
Yes, it's ontologically absurd. It doesn't even get basic ontology correct.
So that basically sounds like nuh-uh to me.
You can interpret it that way. You can deliberately interpret it falsely, but that's not the correct interpretation of what I said. So address the critique instead of just trying to reduce it to, again, people always do this to me, always reducing what I'm saying, always reducing my critiques to just a mere opinion, so as to discredit what I just said, so you don't have to actually give an argument against what I said.
But that's the problem. It is an opinion.
It's not a mere opinion. Just
yeah,
retorting to
it is.
me that it's a mere opinion does not debunk
All
what
Yeah,
right,
I just said.
all
Give
right.
an
yeah.
I'll
All
answer
you're
that.
argument.
giving is an opinion,
Hey,
All right,
Gregory. All
all
you're
right,
giving is
Leflane,
an
Leflane,
opinion.
Gregory.
Leflane. Why would you jump in here? Because now you're gonna be added to the list of who gets exposed here.
Yeah,
So
because I can answer if I want to, because it's a public forum. Thank you.
okay, but I'm explaining now. You're on the list. Okay, so you guys are pretending nothing's wrong with it again. You're going to make me thoroughly expose you with specificity. You guys are going to pretend relativity doesn't get anything wrong. Relativity can't even mathematically work out black holes. It can't even solve for singularity.
By the way, he did say that earlier about it being incomplete. We already admitted all that stuff. So
No, it's not that it's
that's not a
incomplete. No, 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 no,
retort.
no.
We
No,
accept
it's
that, admit it, and move on.
no, it's not that it's incomplete. It literally cannot do it. It doesn't work.
That's the point of it being incomplete. It doesn't work in high gravity situations or very near the speed of light. It's incomplete. We said that.
Well, maybe-
we conceded it. We admit it. We accept it.
It's not
Well,
incomplete.
maybe
It's
extremists
wrong.
can answer my question then. Well, wait, so let the extremists answer my question. How much of it has it got to be wrong before it's completely wrong? How much? What's your percentage?
Like you want a percentage?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 95%.
So if I have 95% of the solution is poison, is that solution good for me?
It could be incomplete. The other 5% may be a lack of understanding, a lack of utility. Maybe you don't have the technology to test that. That actually, the perfect example of that would be the Higgs boson, where we mathematically predicted it, but it took us 50 or 60 years to actually develop the technology to confirm it was correct. So there's those possibilities, but we just might not have the technology. Maybe we don't have the mathematical know-how to do some of these things. So it is incomplete and not necessarily wrong. There is a difference between those
So
two
no,
statements.
so no. Hang on, Paul. When they say the sentence, when they retort saying it's incomplete, that presupposes that they know the entirety of the theory, but have yet to say it. What's the rest of the theory?
That's actually opposite of what it is. We don't know the whole theory. We know this is part of the whole theory. Therefore, it's incomplete.
No,
So
because the
how
part
do you
you're
know
claiming
it's
that you
incomplete if you don't know
know,
the rest of the theory?
but the
Because
part that
we
you're
know
claiming
it
that
doesn't work
just
in certain
lying.
circumstances. Therefore, it's not complete. I mean, it's
You're
not.
basically
Wait.
You have to know that it's 100%. You don't have to know the whole thing to know it's not complete. I mean, that's
Yes, you
just
a
do.
lie.
How do you know it's incomplete if you don't know the whole theory? How do you know
That's
the
just a
pizza
silly
is
statement.
incomplete
That's
if
just
you haven't
silly.
seen the whole pizza?
Actually, that's a good point, extremist. If you can say it's incomplete, but if you don't know the whole thing, you can't say that. You can't say that. He's right.
So what you are
So
saying
I
is
mean,
a
what's
theory and it's wrong.
ontologically absurd about it, Gregory?
I'm sorry, say again.
What's ontologically absurd about general relativity?
Space and time is not concrete. They're not concrete,
What?
and so they don't have extension in spaces, so they can't be curved,
Can
or
we
they
talk
can't be
about the
trampled
funda-
upon, or they
what
can't
is
be
being
played.
misunderstood here? Like it's a philosophical just like bankruptcy, right? It's like incomplete's not synonymous with wrong. Okay, so if I say this ice cube maker makes 10 ice cubes in an hour, every hour, and then I go over there and I say, oh look, there's a pizza on the counter. Well, my theory didn't talk about pizzas. That's incomplete, right? Because it didn't address pizzas. But if I then open up the ice maker and it only makes 9 ice cubes instead of 10, my theory that it made 10 was wrong, not incomplete.
So, Gregory, general relativity is ontologically absurd because space and time are not concrete. Yo, who's coughing?
Somebody is dying. God bless you,
Yeah, okay. Fuck.
Bob Dole. Hey man,
Abdul.
I don't want you dead.
Go see a doctor.
Real Bob.
Yet. What's up
One
with
got
that? I gave you an example. I gave you an analogy of ice cubes. What happened?
the analogy of ice. Yeah, I
Although
mean,
you're
I
hot
heard,
micing with a
I
loud noise in
heard
the
the
background.
analogy, but I was
The
trying
real
to.
is a lot of background noise. Can somebody mute him?
I did.
There we go.
There you go.
So you guys heard the analogy though, right? So there's a difference in, oh look, there's a pizza on the counter. Well, my theory was about ice cubes, not pizza, so it's incomplete because we don't know why the pizza's there. That's incomplete, right? It doesn't address that. But if it's talking about how there's going to be 10 ice cubes in an hour and there's always only 9, my theory that there were going to be 10 ice cubes is wrong. It cannot be right.
But what are you equating that to? General
That is
relativity?
yes.
When any of you say no, it's not wrong, it's incomplete. That answer,
Yeah.
quote, it's incomplete, presupposes that you know the entirety of the theory. So tell it to us. And then you say, no, there is no more theory to be told. That's the entirety of the theory. So if it is the entirety of the theory and it's wrong, then it's wrong, not incomplete. It's complete and it's wrong.
Yeah, but
But the other
Gregory,
side, the other side of the coin on that too. If I say the answer to the math problem is it's 100 or 100, but I say 99, well, I'm 99% correct, but there's one digit off. Am I right or wrong? I'm wrong.
Right. You're wrong. And you know that, and you know the entirety of the answer, that it's not 99, it's 100. Not being ignorant that it's 100 and you only know 99.
well, this is the best analogy I can give you, right? You have a special technique that helps you find things in the dark, all right? And there's 10 objects you got to find in a dark room, and you use your special technique, but your special technique no, sorry. Your special technique only allows you to find 10 objects. There's actually 11 objects in the dark room. You can only find 10. You haven't learned the super grand master technique to find the 11th object. That's all. We just
No,
don't know
that's not
how to
what's going
find that
on.
11th. I'm not done
That's
But the
with it.
not.
Come on.
problem, but
I'm
the
not
No,
problem
done
is that,
talking. We just don't. Please, guys. Please. We just
oh, I
don't
thought
know
you were
how to
done.
find that 11th object. So to sh- give you to show how that analogy applies to relativity, we know how to answer most things using relativity. We just don't know how to combine it with quantum mechanics. When we start trying to use it within the quantum realm, our equations like speed off to infinity and we get weird answers, which just tells us that our equations are not complete.
and it
But
doesn't
for
work
the
on the
most
An
part,
cosmic
you're
instance
the
of
scale
right one.
either.
incompletion. Clark, in your analogy, you said we found 9, but there's really 11. In
We
that
found 10.
analogy, you just demonstrated that you know that there's 11. You know the complete thing. You know the complete theory. So that's not analogous to you saying it's incomplete. When you
No,
say
we
it's
don't
incomplete,
know.
that means you don't know the entire theory. So say the rest of the theory. When you say that we know that there's 11, but we only found 9, you're saying that you know the entire theory. It's antithetical. It's not analogous at
No,
all.
but I wasn't done. So we have a special technique to find 10 of the 11. And then my homie Gregory has this unknown super secret technique where he can just find that 11th piece only. He can't find the other 10. He can only find the 11. So Gregory and I have two incomplete theories, and we can put our theories together so that we have one theory that helps us find all 11 in one go. What we have is two incomplete theories. They're not
But in your
compatible, and we
analogy,
have to
these are not
find them.
incomplete theories. In your analogy, these
Why are
aren't
they not
incomplete
complete?
theories. These are entire theories that don't account for everything. Instead of
Yeah,
saying
so
that
they're not
the
complete.
entire theory
They
doesn't
don't
account for
account for
everything,
everything.
so instead of saying that it doesn't account for everything, therefore the entire theory is wrong, the theory is wrong.
No,
It isn't that
it's
it's
incomplete.
missing some theory. In your
It's just
analogy, there are entire theories. It's not a partial theory. It's not part of a theory. In your analogy, it's this theory, your theory, and my theory, two whole entire theories that aren't accounting for everything. They fail
but
to account for everything.
if my theory can find 10 of the 11 objects in this dark room, how are you just going to say it's wrong? It's just not complete, Gregory.
It's not an instance of the theory being incomplete. Let go of that. This is just rhetoric that you're making in your mind
No.
so as to refuse to say it's wrong. It's just a
Yeah,
commitment
listen.
to this notion,
If you
to
want
the
to say
rhetoric.
it's wrong, go ahead and say it's wrong. It really makes no difference at the end of the day, Gregory.
It does make a difference. The rhetoric is wrong. You rather choose the rhetoric
Cool.
saying it's incomplete rather than saying it's wrong. When you say my
All right,
theory doesn't
cool.
account for everything, that's not an instance of it being an incomplete theory. That's an instance of it
Okay.
being a failed theory.
Can I just say this
All
though?
right, Gregory.
What
All
it
right.
is. He's right though. It's just a talking point, and the truth of the matter is, it doesn't work on the quantum or the cosmological scale. And it's like, for example, if relativity is correct, so relativity says that for this motion to happen in the galaxies, there must be this amount of mass. That mass displaces the space-time and causes this motion. Okay, so relativity says that. Now we see this motion, but only 3% of the mass that would be needed for that motion if relativity was correct. Meaning, if the mechanism of relativity actually were happening in reality, then it would require this much mass for this motion. Yet we have this motion observed, and we do not have that mass. Therefore, relativity is wrong because the actual observational data directly contradicts its claim.
An entire theory debunked, falsified. Not
Yeah,
part of a
we're just
theory that's
wrong.
yet to be said.
Cool. We're wrong, but yeah. Kosho did have a. He posed a very good question. I don't know, Gregory Whitson. Could you guys give us an instance where general relativity made an incorrect prediction on something?
I just did.
In all instances, when you
I'm
make the
so sorry.
ontological blunder where you reify space and time, in all instances, you're going to be wrong.
In all
Falsehood
instances,
implies falsehood.
so it's wrong all the time, everywhere. Like it's just never been right on one itsy bitsy little thing. All right.
Not
Strawman.
even once.
Who cares?
No,
Who
that's
cares
not
though?
a straw man. That's exactly what Gregory's saying.
Yeah, it was
Well,
fair
I'm not
enough, but
straw man.
that's not what the actual that. Who cares? Like, why can't you address the point? I just gave you an example of what's wrong with it. Why is it that you're pretending relativity's never gotten anything wrong?
What did he get wrong? Sorry, I didn't hear that part. Could
It
you
was supposed
repeat
to
it?
have, yeah. It's supposed we have way too little of mass in the galaxies that we observe.
What's that got to do with general relativity?
Okay, well, relativity claims that based on a certain amount of mass, there's a certain displacement in space-time which causes a gravity well, giving you a certain motion or curvature. So if we see that curvature, but it doesn't have the mass needed for said curvature rate based on relativity, that means relativity is wrong. And that's what we observe. And we observed that as early as 1933.
That's a particular instance, which is one of all instances where it cannot be right. If you tell me a reification fallacy of space and time, and everything you described, every event, every motion, every change you describe presupposes the reification of space and time, you're going to be wrong. That which implies falsehood is false. That which is a reification fallacy cannot be correspondent to reality.
Yeah, which I don't fully understand what you said. I think what you're alluding to is that, the cold dark matter model we use now for our known observable universe doesn't correctly predict the mass to energy ratio we have. Maybe I'm not sure, but maybe you could also post a link to where you're getting this from so that I have more clarity on the point you're
He's talking
trying to
about
make.
galaxy rotations and dark matter.
Dark
Dark
matter. All
matter.
right.
Correct.
So I was right
And
then.
I'll show you
CD and
Stanford
cold dark
saying
matter.
that I'll show you Stanford saying that our dependence on dark matter is an embarrassment.
So you saying because of dark matter, relativity is wrong?
Objectively,
You'd have to
relativity is
show
wrong.
that dark matter is incorrect. So
Can't say
for that
that
to
dark
be
matter hasn't been
You
shown to be real. So
you can't show it to be incorrect when it's not even a claim yet.
yes, it's not a claim.
Yeah, it's literally undefined embarrassment. That's actually Caltech that said that. It's a Caltech paper. Yeah, it's an
But we
embarrassment.
know that dark matter, you know, uh, like has gravity. We know
How
it's
do you
made of
know that?
matter. That's why we call it dark matter. Because we see the gravitational effects it has on things around it. We
Where
see
have you
how
seen dark matter?
we see how it gravitationally lenses light as light passes through it from, distant stars and galaxies. Like
Where have you seen dark matter?
we've seen the effects it has, Gregory. Like
Where have you seen the
without
dark matter to cause the effect that you supposedly observed?
we see the effects it has on things around it. We don't see dark matter itself. That's why we call it dark. It doesn't interact with light or any sort of electromagnetic radiation. So we
So
call
then
it
how do you
dark.
know it
But
caused the effect that you say it caused?
because we see how it causes things to move around it
But you
because
haven't
of
seen it do
our
it. You
understanding
haven't
of
seen it cause
matter
the
and
effect.
gravity.
So how do you know it is the thing causing the effect?
Because we see the effects of things around it. So there must be something there causing that effect.
Okay, but how do you know it is dark matter as opposed to just matter?
Dark matter is just a name we gave to it, Gregory. We just call
Right.
it
So
dark
dark
because it
matter is the
doesn't
name
interact
you
with.
gave to a hypothetical thing that you have never had any
It's not
empirical sense
hypothetical.
of.
It's real. It's there. and we see how
But
it
you haven't
affects
had
things
any
around.
empirical experience of it.
We do have an experience of it because we see how it affects things around it.
How do you know
No.
it's causing that effect?
Wow.
Assuming relativity, you have to that has to exist. That's what you should be. If we assume relativity, if relativity is correct, dark matter has to exist.
That's
So
a
you
more
just don't look
correct
at it with the
statement. There
right.
you go.
Yeah, you just never look at it from the right perspective. And here again, I just dropped Caltech literally saying like our reliance on hypothetical dark matter is an embarrassment. So you're saying it's not hypothetical, but Caltech disagrees with you. It just objectively is. It's not even defined yet. Our reliance on hypothetical dark matter is an embarrassment.
Yeah, let me read what you posted.
This is science falsely so called, knowledge falsely so called. Pseudonomondiosus.
I guess my point is when we say it's an
Hey guys,
embarrassment, you don't have a position to act like we're crazy people. Just wanted to make the point.